You'll have to forgive me for the way I look, my appearance. You know, I'm not really dressed up or anything. I'm working in the garage, actually. Here in Gilbert, Arizona, I'm working in a garage. I'm working on this, actually, saxophone. Working on these things, something I've been doing since I was 18. So I've been doing it for, 40 years, working on saxophones and flutes and that type of thing. And one of the reasons I do it is because I like tinkering with little things. If you can imagine all the different screws that are in a saxophone like this, all the different moving parts, it's really quite an invention. Adolph Sax created it back in the, around the turn of the 19th century, I guess. I don't really know too much about the history of it, but it's a very complicated instrument. And actually, all these woodwind instruments are very complicated for them to play the entire chromatic scale, and to play several octaves and stuff like that. Of course, they all originated from the flute, which was originally just a stick with some holes in it. And they blew it and got some noise out of it, and there was just a few holes, and that evolved into all of these different instruments that we have here. But the reason I do this, and the reason I'm even talking about this, is because when I work on these types of things, I am very, very present in what I'm doing. I don't do this. I get paid, to work on these, but I don't do it for that reason. I do it because it's more of a mental exercise in a reverse kind of way. If I can stay present and work on a saxophone or work on anything that I really enjoy, and this is not true just for me, but it's true for you as well, of course. You work on something that you enjoy and you can stay in that present moment reality. You're not worried about the future or the past. And you can, if you tune into that and become very sensitive to that, you can notice when you are not present. So if I'm working on something like this and I notice that there's a broken part and I realize that I don't have that part in stock, that is telling me, my mind is also immediately going into, I have to order this in the future. I have to order this soon, this part. If I'm dwelling on that, I know that I'm not present. I know that there's some agitation based behind me obtaining this part for this instrument, for me to finish this repair for somebody. If I'm looking at something and I recognize the difficulty because of something that has happened in the past, for example, I'm using the past as a tool that we should learn it, because everything that has happened to us is let me rephrase it. All of the lessons that we've learned in life have happened in the past. And it's through the mechanism of our brains, that we can recur these things, remember these things. And so if I identify something that is wrong with the saxophone because I've run into it before, which happens all the time, I'm using the past in a beneficial way. Now, if I'm working on the saxophone and I remember something that I didn't get done yesterday, something that is actually pulling me away from this work, a non-lesson type of thing that happened in the past, that is a troubling thought, which turns into an emotion because it is pulling me away from the present moment, and that present moment is repairing this and enjoying repairing this. So all of this has to do with being sensitive to the mind going into the past and into the future. But not only this, working on this, but every aspect of life. There's a lot of yeah buts that come into this when I explain this to people, because I've been explaining this for several decades, because when we meditate, we come into that present moment and we notice that, and our mind leaves our meditation object, might be the breath or whatever it might be, and we notice that the mind is not present. We are not present anymore, so we bring it back. We slowly, gently bring it back to the meditation object, maybe the breath, and we become present again. And we do that again and again and again as a practice, as an exercise. A lot of people say, well, I've tried meditation and it doesn't work for me. Well, that's fine. Try the next step, which is actually being mindful, which is a part of awareness of when the mind is not on the task and when it's thrown into the past or thrown into the future, or gently swayed into the past or gently swayed into the future. And most of you have heard me say, and I mentioned this just a few moments ago, that all of our emotions, all the negative emotions, are contained in these areas of the past and the future. And primarily the negative ones are anger or anxiety, and the future, dealing with the past, and the future would be fear, of course. Also anxiety or restless and worry can be also noted in the future, past or the future. And these emotions are not even real. They are like movies in our minds. And when we have these fearful thoughts, these things that, when people say, what can I do about my fear? I tell them to basically make another movie, make a different movie, one that is more joyful, one that is more happy and more exciting, in very, very beneficial ways, with inspiration and that type of thing. In other words, all of our fear, false evidence that appears real, all of our fear is made in the mind. It's a movie, it's a horror movie that we're creating within our mind. And we've seen plenty of horror movies, these scary, creepy movies, and they're boring. There's nothing too exciting about them. They might get our adrenaline going a little bit, but then after a while, we don't like them anymore. We can't live in that state all the time, but a lot of people try to. And actually, just like some people are addicted to scary movies, people can be addicted to a fear. These false things that they predict that may happen in the future. There are some things that are beneficial, more dealing with instinct and mostly intuition of things that we can run into in the future that we should be afraid of, because that is our fight or flight response, of course. And so those are the things that, like, we go into a crowd of people that we don't feel comfortable with, maybe we should back up and get out of there for whatever reason, that's just instinct. And that's a type of fear, though, also, that unsettling, that some type of anxiety that we can find. A lot of it is, a learned process from the past. I've been in this situation before. I don't want to be in it now. I'm out of here. That kind of thing. But basically, as humans, we have an opportunity to change the movie of the mind. We practice meditation to understand ourselves at a higher level, at a deeper level, maybe we could say. That means that we close our eyes and be very, very aware of where the mind goes, into these thoughts, these emotions. Thoughts turn into emotions. Emotions turn into states. And then these states are turn into our character and who we are and how we live our life. They're the background of our life. So I'd like to have you try this in your meditation. I'm not going to lead you through this or anything like that, but this is just something I want you to try. You can do it right now, or you can do it after you turn off this video. But I want you to get in the habit of creating a better movie for yourself. If you notice that you're fearful, if you notice you're angry, if you notice you're upset, anxiety, if there's grief in your life, despair, depression, I want you to sit in meditation and create the ideal picture and notice how it makes you feel inside. And then I want you to notice every time that you come into this moment of presence, this pure presence, this nowness, and see how that makes you feel. It's not only a part of who you are, but it is who you are. It is you. So that's all for now. I want you to use that in your practice. I want you to meditate, change the movie of the mind, and notice when you come into this state of presence, this magical moment where there is no past and no future, where everything just as is. And getting back to what we originally talked about, find that presence while you're doing something that you really enjoy doing. Like I said, I enjoy tinkering. I enjoy looking at something, seeing how the factory made it. If there's a problem with it, reversing that so it's back to how the factory intended it to work. That's just a thing that I enjoy doing. There's a lot involved, but most of it is present moment realization, present moment awareness while I'm doing so. And so in a way, I'm being very mindful. I wouldn't say that I'm meditating while I'm doing it, but I am being very mindful and being, using that awareness, while I do this. So whatever you do, whatever you enjoy doing, whatever inspires you, continue doing it, and notice that the reason you're inspired by it and the reason you enjoy doing it is because it brings you into that present moment. All right. Thank you.